Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he has granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast, who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has an understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. So now we see another beast coming up out of the earth. The first beast came up out of the sea, which is out of the bottomless pit. This beast comes up out of the earth, and it says that he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. So we know that horns represent authority. And we see in Revelation 17 verse 12 where it says that the 10 horns are 10 kings and that have received no kingdom, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. Horns are a type of authority. It's a symbolism of authority. Now, it has 2 horns like a lamb. So this will mean that it has authority over religion, because the lamb is symbolism of Jesus, because Jesus is the lamb, our sacrifice that takes away our sins. So this person is going to come as a Jesus figure, or even as Jesus himself. Somebody will claim to be Jesus and have authority over 2 religions, which would be Christianity and the new religion of the Antichrist, which I believe is based on Islam. Now, this Jesus figure is going to speak like a dragon, and the dragon that we know that has been said is the devil, it's Satan. So the false prophet is going to be a person that looks like a Christian, or a person claiming to be Jesus Christ, because in Matthew 24 verse 26 Jesus tells them, so if they tell you, there he is in the wilderness, do not go out, or here he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. Jesus is telling them that someone is going to come claiming to be him, and to not believe it. Don't go out to see him. Don't believe in the lies, because this beast of the earth, which is the false prophet, is going to claim to be Jesus, but he will speak blasphemies against God and speak like Satan. Now, in the Quran, there's the prophecy of Jesus returning, and he will claim to say that he converted to Islam, or that Christianity was twisted over the years. This is a claim that the Quran says about the Bible. It says that the Bible is corrupt. It says that the Jewish people got it wrong, that the Christians got it wrong, but only Islam is the correct one. But this is a deception to set up what it wants to do later with the Antichrist, where the prophecy is in the Quran that a Jesus figure or Jesus will return and say that he converted, and say that all the crosses have to be torn down, all the Christians have to convert or they have to die, but yet all the Jews have to also die completely. So this is completely opposite to who Jesus actually is. This is a twisting of the Bible, and it's in line with the Antichrist, where it's meant to deceive people. And when you read the Quran, it says that Allah is also called a great deceiver. So we can see that the Quran is a complete opposite of the Bible. So when it says Jesus, it's the opposite. When you hear Muslims talk about Jesus, you hear them say that Jesus was a great prophet, that he was only a prophet, that he did miracles, but he was just a prophet. So when we have this beast of the earth, we refer to this person that comes like Jesus but is against God. We refer to this person as the false prophet. If this person is Jesus coming back, and to the Muslims he's only a prophet, then for the people he is a false prophet. For us he is a false prophet. He is not Jesus. This is not Jesus. This is an evil person that will join with the Antichrist to deceive people. So the false prophet is not Jesus, and it's not Christian. It's totally from the devil. It's totally demonic, and it is in line with the Antichrist, and he will support the Antichrist in all his things. So we continue reading, and he says he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So it's saying that the false prophet, this person that we'll call the false prophet, uses all the authority and has all the authority of the first beast. And we know that the first beast is a kingdom. It's a government. So the authority of the government, the authority of that religion, the authority of the Antichrist, as he claims to be God, the false prophet will use that authority to his advantage, to deceive people. The power and control over people through the false deity of, or the false religion of the Antichrist. So it says that he causes the people to worship the beast. So whether by deceit of the signs or by deadly force, he makes people follow the Antichrist and the false religion of the beast government. And it says of the deadly wound that was healed. It continues saying this over and over again, of the beast, this beast government, this kingdom that was destroyed, but it returns. It is a world government. It is Babylon that was destroyed, but then it returns as the eighth kingdom of the beast, which will be also explained again in Revelation 17. So this false prophet is in line with the Quran prophecy of a false Jesus. So it says that he will perform great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast. So he will have power to be able to make false miracles or big spectacles to deceive people, to say that, wow, look at all the power. This is miraculous. This is believable. We can believe his power because he can do all of these things. He can do all of these signs and wonders, like even bringing fire from the sky. Maybe that can mean that he can bring an asteroid to the earth, or he can do things at will that seem impossible. You can tell that this is demonic and that people accept this, but they didn't accept the two witnesses who were also able to create signs and wonders through plagues. These plagues were to warn people and to humble them before God, but they ended up hating the two witnesses. Now you have a false prophet that is in line with their desires of the devil, that is in line with being against God and his people, that they accept this false prophet. They accept these signs, but they didn't accept the signs of the two witnesses. The false prophet will create signs and wonders that will trick people into thinking that he is the truth. So because of these signs and because of these quote-unquote miracles, people will believe in his power because it's in line with what they accept. It's in line with what they want. They didn't accept the two witnesses because that was against, because these people are not in the book of life. They will be rebellious against anything of God. So when the Antichrist and the false prophet appear and do all of their power, they will accept that because they have always gravitated towards Satan. It says in John 10 verse 26 and 27, "But because you are not my sheep, you refuse to believe. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me." The people that don't follow Jesus are not of Jesus. They are not his. They are not his sheep. because Jesus is our shepherd. He protects us, he guides us and guards us of all evil. But if we don't follow him, if we hear his voice and refuse to believe, then who do you believe? You follow and believe the one that you belong to. And as Christians, we belong to Jesus. So we listen to Jesus' voice and we follow Jesus. We know him. But these people don't know Jesus. They follow the devil, and they will accept this false prophet and antichrist as the truth. So basically, the people that follow the false prophet don't know the voice of Jesus. Christians that know the voice of Jesus, that belong to Jesus, the real Jesus, we know his voice. That's why when Jesus speaks to us, we can understand him. It's like when someone tries to tell us something about Jesus, but it sounds fishy. It doesn't sound right. Something doesn't sound right about it because we know Jesus personally. These people that follow the false prophet, they don't know Jesus personally. So when the false prophet tells them all these lies and shows them signs and miracles, false miracles, and a great spectacle, they'll believe in him because they truly don't know Jesus. They don't know who Jesus is or what Jesus is about. All they know is what they see in front of them. All they know is a worldly sense of Jesus. They don't know him personally. So when it says that when we are with Jesus, we are his sheep and we know his voice, it means that it will be difficult to deceive us. Like an actual sheep herder, the actual sheep only responds to their owner's voice. No one else can command the sheep to move here or go here, to corral the sheep together. The sheep will not obey those commands unless it's a voice that they know. And the only voice that they know and trust is their shepherd. So if Jesus is our shepherd and we are his sheep, we know the voice of Jesus. So when someone else comes to try and claim to be him, we will not be deceived by that. So the people that are deceived are not the sheep of Jesus. They will be obedient to someone that is not Jesus. They may say that they are Christian, but if they don't know Jesus, they will be deceived by this false Jesus or by this false prophet. And so the ones being deceived by the false prophet and the Antichrist, and they end up following him and getting the mark, it says that they're not written in the book of life. It says that the people that follow them are not written in the book of life. And this is because they were never truly with Jesus. They never knew Jesus. This is why when Jesus speaks about the time of judgment, and he says that people will come to him saying, we did all these things in your name, and Jesus will say, get away from me, I never knew you. Because the people that did things in the name of Jesus didn't truly know Jesus. They think they were doing things for him, but they were deceived. They were not Jesus' sheep, and they did not know Jesus' voice. And so these people who are following the false prophet and believing in him don't know the voice of Jesus, so they believe in this fake Jesus. They believe in this fake false prophet. So the people will accept this false prophet as the truth, and the false prophet will tell the people to worship the Antichrist, that it is the right thing to do, to convince them, if they weren't already, to follow the Antichrist, to believe him as God. And then it says, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast, who was wounded by the sword and lived. And he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So this is an image that people will be forced to worship. So what does that tell you? The image is a false idol. The image is a statue. It's a statue that people will have to worship as God, just like how people worship statues now as God, or little God, or something that they worship in connection to their God, to their false God. This will be a image, a statue that is a false idol, and the false idol is representation of the Antichrist, who claims to be God. The God that they follow, with the false God, the false idol that they follow, is the Antichrist, and the image is a statue that represents the Antichrist. Now, it's an image of the beast. So if we know that the beast is a kingdom, the eighth kingdom, then it is the symbol of that eighth kingdom. So the statue, the false idol, will be a symbolic image that represents the Antichrist, but also represents the government. So think of the United States, where we have a government, and our image of our government that people will know around the world is the eagle. So that image, that eagle, is the image of our government. That is the symbol of our government, of the United States. In the beast government, the image will be a symbol of the Antichrist and the false religion, representing the false religion and the false god and the kingdom that he rules over. So the image, which will be built into a statue, is representation of the government, which represents the Antichrist and the false religion. So these people will have to worship this statue, this false idol as well. This refers back to Babylon again, where King Nebuchadnezzar created a statue that the people had to worship. And the Jewish people did not worship the statue. And they were captured by the king and were forced into a burning oven because they did not worship the statue. They did not worship the statue because that is a false idol. That is a false god. The king wanted to be known as God. So you're mirroring the original Babylon, where you have a king that calls himself God, you have a statue that people have to worship, and if you don't, you'll be killed for it. So this false prophet gives power to this statue, and the statue itself will be the one to be able to kill the person who isn't worshiping. Just like when you see other people and there's a statue of their false idol, if there's a statue of God, or even with Catholics where they have the statue of Mary, they can't go by that statue without first stopping to that statue, worshiping that statue, and giving a little prayer, or giving some credence, or giving their attention and devotion to that statue, because it represents the God that they believe in. You see them believing that the statues have power. This statue will actually have power, and it will come alive and be able to kill the person that doesn't stop what they're doing, worship the statue, and then go on with their day. The statue will demand worship because this false prophet who has power, which I believe this false prophet is a false Jesus, will give power to this false idol. And if you don't worship this false idol, if you don't worship the statue itself will be able to kill you. So the false prophet confirms the Antichrist to deceive the world. Then he forces people to create an image of the beast government that represents the Antichrist and the false god. And if you don't worship that, then you are killed. The image or statue itself will kill you. The next thing that the false prophet does is that he forces everyone to get a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, where if you don't get this mark, you cannot function in society in any way, shape, or form. It says that he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. This means everybody in the world. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. That no one will be able to buy or sell, meaning they can't function in society economically. You can't buy food, you can't buy a house, you can't do anything in this world. The whole world is run by money. So you won't be able to eat or have shelter in this society if you don't have the mark. But having the mark will signify that you are against God. When we read later in the next chapter, the 144,000 are telling people do not get the mark. Because if you do get the mark, that is the symbol of the beast kingdom. It is the symbol of the false god. That is showing that you are aligning yourself with the false religion, the false government. You are aligning yourself with the Antichrist. You cannot get this mark no matter what you do. If you're hungry, do not get the mark. If you are being tortured, do not get the mark. If they even want to kill you, do not get the mark, because not getting the mark will show that you are a Christian. Because why wouldn't you get the mark? How stupid are you for not wanting to function in society when all you have to do is get this little marking on your forehead or your right hand? People will think that it's completely normal to do this, not realizing that once they get the mark, that they are completely damning themselves to the lake of fire. If you do not get the mark, you will be against the beast government. And since the beast government has its influence and control all over the world, you will be ostracized from the entire world. And it's not that you will be, I mean, you can run away from the world, you can try and hide in the woods and get away from the government, but this mark is going to be forced upon people. It's not an optional thing where you don't have to get it if you don't want to. Everyone will be forced to get this mark, just like everyone will be forced to worship this image. And if you don't get the mark, if you don't worship the image, they will kill you. So the mark is the symbol of the beast kingdom. It is the image of the beast. It may be the same image that was made in statue form. So, like I said earlier, where the United States has the image of the eagle, well, the beast government will have the mark. That mark is the image of the government. It is the symbol of that government. It says, no one may buy or sell except no one can function in society unless you get the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. These things are all the same thing. It's not three different things. They're talking about the same thing in different aspects. So, the mark. The mark is the symbol of the beast. It's the image of the beast, of the kingdom, of the beast government, and the symbol of the deity of the Antichrist, the false religion of the Antichrist. Now, how will the mark be implemented? It may be a tattoo. It may be some type of tattoo that is drawn on, because in the original Greek text, the word mark is translated to mean etching. So it's not an implant. It cannot be an implant, because an implant will be an insertion, not just an etch on your skin. The thing that we can understand etching would be a scratch. And a tattoo is like a scratch that cuts your skin but injects ink. So that scratch creates a mark on you. And that mark would be the tattoo. So the mark of the beast, the mark of this government, would be maybe a tattoo of some type, but I don't know if people will find it fashionable to have a drawing on their forehead or on their right hand. So it may be an invisible ink. And right now they have invisible ink for tattoos, and they also have RFID ink, which RFID is a type of electronic system that can identify you, and it connects with computers in different ways. They have now RFID ink that can be tattooed on you, and when it's tattooed on you, you have RFID embedded into your skin through the tattoo. And it may be invisible ink, where it can be seen under ultraviolet light. It may be invisible to the naked eye, but when you shine it on an ultraviolet light, you may be able to see it. Or if they really are very strong about their worship to the Antichrist, to the religion of the Antichrist, and they claim that the Antichrist is God, they may actually draw the tattoo and make it and have an actual visible tattoo on their forehead or on their right hand. They may be proud of this. They may be proud of that. Like how in India, they have the red dot on their forehead. That red dot is part of their religion and part of their culture. And that is seen as something to be proud of. That is something that is important to them. So the mark of the beast government could be a tattoo, a drawn symbol that is tattooed onto your forehead or onto your right hand that will be visible to everyone. people may be proud of this. They may see that this really is the ultimate sign of your worship, of your obedience to the Antichrist, of the Antichrist religion, of the beast government. So this mark will be on the right hand or on the forehead. And it may be a visible tattoo or it may be an invisible tattoo. If people are very obedient to the beast, then it may be a visible tattoo that people will be proud of, not understanding that they are worshiping Satan and that they are all judged by God and will be ultimately placed in the lake of fire for all eternity. This is not something to be proud of. This is something to run away from. Do not get the mark at all costs. So the mark is a etching onto your skin, a symbol of the beast government or the beast religion of the Antichrist who claims to be God. And it's also the name of the beast. So it's also the name of the beast government. If we look at different languages, sometimes languages are drawn in symbolic ways. We have the Egyptian language, which are drawings that represent different things. But they are literal drawings. They're not like an alphabet. It's actual drawings. And those drawings represent language. The name of the beast, the name of this government, it's the same as the mark. So this mark also represents a name. This symbol also represents the name of the government, the name of the religion, the false god. So just like in Egypt, where the hieroglyphs are symbols that represent language. So the mark is a symbol, which is the image of the government, or the image or a symbol of the Antichrist that is symbolic of the name of the Antichrist. So we would say, if we think about the United States again, the name of the United States is United States. The symbol of the United States is the eagle. So if it's a symbol that also represents a name, then it will be a symbol that is part of a language. So the symbol of the beast is also the name of the beast. It's also the name of the government. Now, it's also the number of his name. Now, why does it say the number of his name? Well, this is a type of technology that enables you to be in the world computer in order to buy and sell, in order to be functional in society, mainly economically. So the number of his name would refer to the number that is in the world computer that is designated to each person. It can be that its prefix number is 666 and that each person would have 666 in their ID system. The mark will be the thing that enables you to function in society, and that will have an electronic connection to the world computer. And the number that the world computer will use in relation to the beast government would be 666. So it's like how we have a social security number now, and that number designates you as a member of the United States. This number 666 will designate you as a member of the world government that is ruled by the beast kingdom. This number is the name of the beast. It's the name of the kingdom. It's the name of the false god. It's all of the above, where the mark is an image, and it's also the name of the government, and it's also the number that is representation of the government. Just like a social security number represents you in the government, the number of the government represents the beast government. So when you're in the system and you have the mark, your number will be in the world computer and your prefix would be 666. That will be the number of the beast. Your number will be tied to the beast computer. So it will be like one person's number would be 666 1 2 3 4 5, and then somebody else will be, the next person will be 666 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then the next person will be 666 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Each person will have a number. Everybody will be counted in this beast government. The entire world will be numbered and accounted for. This is why everybody must get the mark, because they are trying to account for all the people in the world. They're trying to make sure that everyone in the world gets this mark, because it's a type of control to make sure that you are under control of the beast kingdom, that you are under control of the government. And this government is the beast government. This is the 8th kingdom. And it says that it will be the number of a man. The number of the man is the Antichrist. And this number represents the Antichrist. It represents the false deity, the false god of the Antichrist. So the mark is all of the above. It's a mark, which is an image, and its image is also a name, but it's also representation of the number that you are designated to in the world computer. Now, we don't know the name of the beast kingdom. We don't know the name of the government. That's why later on it's called Mystery Babylon. It's something that we don't understand yet because it hasn't happened yet. This kingdom, this 8th kingdom that comes from the 7 kingdoms, which are the 7 heads of the beast, has not arrived yet. So that's why God calls it Mystery Babylon. So the Antichrist will be a false god and deceive people. The false prophet will be someone claiming to be Jesus, but going against Jesus and propping up the Antichrist as God. And he will force people to create an idol or a false image or false idol that people will have to worship. Just as they worship the Antichrist as God, they will have to worship this statue as God as well, because it represents the Antichrist, and it represents the kingdom of the Antichrist. It represents the government of the Antichrist. And because of this, the false prophet and the Antichrist will make everyone get a mark on their forehead or their right hand in order to function in society. This is so people will know who is Christian and who is not. This will be a way for the government to easily differentiate between who is part of the world government, part of this beast government, and who is not. And if you're not, then they will force you to get the mark. But if you do not get the mark, then they will kill you or put you in jail or torture you, especially if you say that you're a Christian, because the Antichrist and the beast government, this false religion, this government which has the Antichrist as its god, will hate Christians, because the Antichrist gets his power from the devil, and this kingdom will go against the Christians. So this time period is over the course of 3.5 years. And if we remember, the time is shortened. So this will happen very quickly. The Antichrist will appear on the scene very quickly. The false prophet will appear on the scene very quickly. The mark of the beast and the image will be on the scene very quickly. As soon as the Jews finish the 3rd temple and the 2 witnesses are killed, the Antichrist and the false prophet will immediately take over power and go against the Christians. And the world will agree to this. And ultimately, the people that do get the mark, that do follow the Antichrist, that are deceived by this beast religion, government, Antichrist, will get the mark, and they will ultimately be in the lake of fire, because the people that followed this are not written in the book of life. And now we'll see in the next chapter that the 144,000 are going to be preaching during this time of the Antichrist, of these 3.5 years. And the ones that heed the warning of the 144,000 Jews, they will be the ones to not get the mark. They will be the ones that are martyred and killed and beheaded for not getting the mark. So we'll continue in the next chapter, where we see the Jewish people preaching around the world. And when the 3.5 years are over, Jesus will come and take up his people, which are the elect, which are the 144,000 Jews, and the people that were killed for not getting the mark, the people that are his, that are Christian, and that time is called the harvest.